The desert outside Outpost 9 was a sheet of molten copper beneath the fading light. The horizon shimmered like a mirage, and the wind carried a low hum through the scattered equipment yards. Lieutenant Marcus Hale stood on the observation platform, squinting at the heat haze. Something was moving out there. He'd been stationed on Mars for 3 months, monitoring a research colony that was supposed to be deserted. The terraforming team had abandoned it years ago, after what official reports called containment breach. Now Hale was here alone, one of the many soldiers sent to reclaim the outpost for future settlers. But at night, he heard footsteps where there should be none. And today, for the first time, he saw the shimmer take form. It looked humanoid, too tall, too slender, its limbs moving with a grace that felt unnatural. Its skin reflected the sun like liquid mercury. Hale froze. The creature tilted its head, studying him from across the dunes, and though there was half a kilometer of red dust between them, Hale felt as though the thing was seeing into him. He couldn't look away. Even when the intercom buzzed behind him, even when the voice of Mission Control crackled through, Lieutenant Hale, report status, he stood transfixed. It was only when the being raised one long, silver hand, in a motion that seemed both greeting and warning, that Hale blinked, and the vision dissolved into the heat. That night, the hum grew louder. Hale recorded his log entries in the dark, the only light coming from the pale blue of his console. Unidentified entities sighted near perimeter at 1904 hours, he muttered. Possible optical illusion, but correlation with previous sensor anomaly suggests biological origin. He paused the recorder. His reflection on the monitor looked foreign, distant. His pupils were dilated. He realized he hadn't blinked in over a minute. Then the hum in the walls turned into a voice. "Why do you watch?" it asked. The words didn't come through the radio or the comms network. They came inside his skull, resonating like a memory of a dream. Hale stood up slowly, scanning the room. "Identify yourself," he said out loud. "This is a restricted communication channel." Silence. Then, "You see what you do not understand, and still you look." The voice was melodic, almost mournful. Hale's hand twitched toward his weapon, but something in him, a deep, primal instinct, told him that pulling the trigger would make no difference. He walked outside. The desert was silver under the twin moons, and there, standing at the edge of the compound, was a being again. It was no illusion this time. The creature glowed faintly, its body shifting in ripples of reflected starlight. Its face was featureless, yet Hale could feel eyes on him. "You shouldn't be here," he said, voice trembling. The being tilted its head again. "Neither should you." Hale took a slow step forward. "Are you the source of the energy fluctuations we've been detecting?" "I am the echo of what you buried," the creature replied. "You awaken what you gaze upon." "I don't understand." "You will," it said, "but you won't like what you see." And then the world folded. Hale blinked, and suddenly he wasn't on Mars anymore. He stood in a vast field of light, shapes like constellations forming and dissolving around him, stars being born and dying in an instant. The alien stood beside him, unchanged. "What is this?" he whispered. "The space between perception and reality," the being said. "Your kind calls it observation. Ours calls it consequence." Hale turned slowly, staring into the infinite void. He saw structures, not physical, but conceptual, bending and collapsing as if his very gaze altered them. Each time he focused, the geometry shifted, resisting his understanding. "You collapse what you observe," the alien said. "You make the uncertain certain. You fix what was meant to flow. And so you destroy what you seek to know." Hale's heart pounded. "You're talking about quantum collapse, observation changing reality." "Yes," the alien said softly. "Your scientists discovered the principle, but you never understood the price." Suddenly, the light around them darkened. Stars winked out. You came to this planet because you believed it was empty, the alien continued. But long before your species learned to crawl, we existed in forms you cannot see. We were probability. We were potential. We were the silence between particles. The being turned toward him, and Hale's body began to tremble. Its surface shifted. Not metal now, but a shifting storm of faces and shapes, as if 1,000 lives flickered through it. When your machine scanned the soil, when your drones mapped the terrain, you looked too closely, it said. You pulled us into shape. You made us real. And in doing so, you killed what we were. Hale stumbled backward. That's impossible. You made it impossible, the alien interrupted. You stared too long. The being's voice grew louder, echoing in his skull like a vibration. Each time you observe, you fix a pattern. Each time you fix a pattern, another part of the universe dies. You are all destroyers of possibility. The air grew heavy. Hale felt his vision blur. What do you want from me? He shouted. The creature's form flickered. I want you to stop staring. And then Hale was back on Mars. The desert wind screamed against the domes. The alien was gone, but the hum had grown unbearable, a resonance that shook the ground itself. He ran to the control room, where sensor readouts were going wild. Energy levels spiked off the charts. A spreading distortion appeared across the digital map, expanding outward from the outpost like ripples on water. Hale realized what was happening. The act of seeing the creature, recording it, describing it, even logging it into the system, was collapsing something fundamental around them. His instruments, his scanners, his notes, they were all amplifying the damage. He tore the data drive from their ports, smashing them on the floor. But the hum only deepened. Too late, whispered the voice in his head. The act is done. The floor split open. A wave of brilliant light burst upward, engulfing the entire horizon. For a fraction of a second, Hale saw everything. The alien's face, his own reflection, the shape of the cosmos folding inward. And then nothing. Silence. When the recovery team from Orbital Command arrived 6 months later, they found Outpost 9 deserted. No human remains, no functioning systems. Only static-filled recordings that ended abruptly mid-transmission. But one video survived. It was security footage from the observation platform. A lone figure stood facing the dunes, motionless for over 7 hours. The feed glitched repeatedly, the image warping into geometric distortions. At the edge of the frame, something faint shimmered, like a figure of light watching him back. Then the recording cut out. Researchers tried to stabilize the footage, but every attempt resulted in corrupted files, as if the image itself refused to be observed. The project was abandoned, and Outpost 9 was quarantined permanently. Still, among the technicians who handled the footage, rumors spread, whispers of a low hum that played faintly in the background, even when the sound was muted. Some said if you stared at the final frame long enough, the static began to move, and if you looked too long, you'd see something staring back.